Welcome once again to Live from My Office. It's Steve Cochran, and hi to all the Kevhead new listeners that popped in this week. I appreciate you sticking around, coming back for more. Kevin Matthews will rejoin me next week with a additional big announcement like the one he gave this week on his new love for freight elevators. And it's a very cool thing he's doing with this freight elevator in Grand Rapids, where he's living now. But anyway, if you love Kev, listen to our last episode of Live from My Office and tune in next week when Kev joins me one more time. As always, Live from My Office is sponsored by David Hochberg and Team Hochberg, 855-56-DAVID, 56david.com. Today, it's all about love. On this Valentine's weekend, we're recording this episode on February 11th, so we're just a couple days away. I'm asking my old friend Bela Gandhi to join in and educate us about love. Just explain what love is all about, what life is all about, in the course of the interview, which she will do. Bela Gandhi is the brains behind Smart Dating Academy. It's a very cool way to do the dating thing and figure out why you suck at it and how to get better. So that's coming up. Bela Gandhi. Oh, I kind of buried the lead, and the former president will be calling as well. But before we get to any of that, let me just make a couple of announcements here. Coming up later in the month, I'm going to have knee replacement surgery. I never really like the look of that right knee. So we're going with an upgrade. And while I'm recovering from that, we're going to play some Live from My Office classics for a couple of weeks. If there's any breaking news, I'll jump back on. But that's coming up in the first couple of weeks of March, just as a heads up, so you'll know you'll have the best ofs coming in then, which I think you're going to enjoy. In the meantime, always check out the show notes. There's always good information there, including how to follow me on social media at Cochran Show, everywhere except for Instagram, where it's Steve Cochran Show. We appreciate the follows. And we appreciate the support. Email me anytime at thecochrансhow@gmail.com. All right, there's a story I want to give you before we press forward with this, just because it's too good not to do. You've got a platform, Steve. You need to tell the people what's happening in the world. It's not always about COVID. It's not always about politics. But sometimes it's about things that you just can't resist. And I'm not making this up. This is an actual headline from a news site in Alabama. It's AL.com. It's an Alabama online news site. Here's the headline. It's not from The Onion. I didn't write it. It's an actual headline. Teen reunited with pet rooster lost at an Alabama Cracker Barrel after a Civil War reenactment. What? Teen reunited with his pet rooster that he lost at an Alabama Cracker Barrel after a Civil War reenactment. Here's the story. A young man, 18-year-old named Tom Ramsey from Gallman, Mississippi, has an organization of teenagers who do Civil War reenactments. One of these Civil War reenactments involved his pet rooster, Peep, who had done several before. I don't know if you know this, but, in the 19th century, chickens were a big part of life. Now, for me at least, they're lunch and dinner. But Tom had a pet chicken, and the pet chicken's name is Peep, a very proud rooster. After a particular Civil War reenactment, they stopped for lunch on the way back to Mississippi at a Cracker Barrel in Cullman, Alabama. His friend Jonas Patrick was with him. So they order a Cracker Barrel, and then they do what you would expect to do. They tied the chicken with a leash to the bumper of their vehicle. All right, I have several questions here. I didn't know chickens had leashes. I didn't know they could be in Civil War reenactments. But it goes badly, as you might guess. Seems the chicken got away. So Peep, this beloved pet rooster, was gone. It's the third time that Peep had been on one of these Civil War reenactment trips. But after going inside to get their lunch order, it's about an hour later, Ramsey's friend goes outside, comes back with bad news. He looks terrible. He said, "He's gone, man. He's gone." Ramsey said, "I thought he was joking. He messes with me like that." But it wasn't a joke. Peep was missing. So, Thomas, not exactly blind to the idiocy of the moment, he goes back into the Cracker Barrel, and he said, "It was hard for me to say this with a straight face, but I was panicking on the inside, and I said, 'Do you guys have security cameras in the parking lot? I think somebody stole my chicken.'" Someone overheard it and said they'd seen Peep wandering around free in the parking lot. I think the lesson there is you got to be careful with your chicken leashes. Huh? So the good news is after an hour and a half riding around looking for the rooster, even checking with a nearby farmer and checking the coop to see if Peep had, found a few that looked like him, he posted missing chicken posts and photos to several Coleman, Alabama Facebook pages. And about every 5 minutes, there was someone saying they were looking for him as well. The people of Alabama came together to look for the chicken. So it seems like the chicken might have been found. So there were some good leads. There were some bad leads. There was someone named Jeremy Cox that had found Peep. But whenever the rooster wandered in or out of someone's life, it got away one more time. Now, there's a guy named John Watson. He's a local farmer, stay with me, in Alabama. He was posting advice on finding and catching Peep. It seems that once he did that, dominoes fell in the appropriate order, and someone found Peep and turned him over to Mr. Ramsey. Now, Ramsey, of course, had gone on to his life back in Mississippi, but he was thrilled to get the call from this local farmer, John Watson, who then did what any good chicken-saving Alabama farmer would do. He put Peep in the car with him, and he drove to Birmingham to bring the chicken back to its rightful owner. I didn't make up a word of that entire story. And frankly, I wish I had, because it's pretty good. Teen reunited with pet rooster lost at an Alabama Cracker Barrel after a Civil War reenactment. And you said there's no good news. We'll take a break. We'll come back in just a moment. The woman behind Smart Dating Academy will explain love to all of us. It's Bela Gandhi next as we head into Valentine's Day weekend, live from my office. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance the one you're in, you need to do what I did when I needed David Hochberg. I didn't think about it. I didn't procrastinate. I called him. For 20 years, David has built his business helping folks like first responders and medical pros and helping them secure mortgages. And he wanted to do more than just say thank you. So every week, Team Hochberg recognizes first responders and medical professionals for keeping us safe and healthy. This week, Team Hochberg is recognizing the 55 police officers and 10 civilian support staff of the Highland Park Police Department who work tirelessly to serve their community. He wants to thank them for their service and support family-owned restaurants. Team Hochberg purchased food from Once Upon a Bagel in Highland Park, owned by Steve Geffen. First responders and medical professionals deserve our appreciation. Family-owned restaurants need our support. If you can afford to, whatever town you're in, purchase lunch from a family-owned restaurant from your local police and fire department's side. They're going to very much appreciate your kindness, your generosity. So whether it's police, fire, medical professionals, buy them lunch if you can. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of first responders, medical professionals, and my podcast listeners, but they can't help you if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or 56david.com and listen to Home Sweet Home Chicago, the radio show, hosted by David Hochberg, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. It's on WGN. Homeside Financial, an equal housing lender, NMLS number 1124061. This is live from my office, and there's nobody better to talk to with Valentine's Day straight ahead. Well, maybe the diapered dude with the bow and arrow, but other than that, Bela Gandhi, Smart Dating Academy. You're the one. You're the only one I wanted to talk to.
I am so glad. I think you should just change it to the best person to talk to at any time of the year, day or night.
That's a good point. No,
Can we redo that?
Yeah.
Can we redo that?
Yeah, well, this is all editable. That's the thing about a podcast. You don't have to commit to live. So,
too funny. Well, so good to be here.
Well, it's nice to talk to you. I miss you, and I haven't seen you since pre-COVID, like everybody else in the world. Have you been behaving and triple masking and doing all the things you're supposed to do?
Doing all the things. Absolutely. There are times, I don't leave my house in 7 days.
So weird,
and
isn't it?
Secretly, I kind of have grown to enjoy it.
That's the thing that's going to be interesting is when the world truly opens up again in due time. Are we going to be afraid to go back to what we did before? And on some level, I hope we are. I hope we've learned something.
Totally. I know I've had 2 kids seventh grade and a junior in high school, homeschooling my husband at home, and it's great.
How's your husband?
We sound like we're crazy.
How's your husband adjusting to being homeschooled? I would think he would have been homeschooled long before now, but
yeah. You could probably have a separate hour-long conversation with him about his feelings about being homeschooled by me. But suffice it to say, I think he's right. He's adapted.
Right.
Survival of the fittest.
It's time to talk love, and I want to give you, very seriously now, I want to give you props, and I don't know that I've ever said this to you publicly. I think I've said it to you privately, but I hope occasionally you pat yourself on the behind, because it'd be wrong if I did it, to say, I invented an entire business here. I invented something that had never been done before. You think everything's been covered in love? Every song has been sung? Every site has been built? You invented a platform for people to really examine their fixes and faults about what they were doing right and wrong, and nobody had done it before. And I'm very proud of you for that, and I hope you're proud of yourself.
Oh, I'm full-body chills. That is so nice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm smiling ear to ear, blushing.
Well, but here's the thing now, and I know you'll tell me the truth. Was this an accident of a good idea, or was this your scheme the entire time? Did you know you had something when you came up with this plan?
No, absolutely not. Probably like every person who started a business and will tell you the truth, what you think you're going to do versus what you end up doing are chalk and cheese. There's almost no correlation. I mean, when I started my business, which is now called Smart Dating Academy, I first incorporated under the name Chicago's Matchmaker. And so what I was doing, thinking what I had done for so many of my friends, setting them up. But throughout that process, which lasted, 6 months, I thought, gosh, this is really like setting people up is enabling to do the same thing over and over again, which has not been working. So it's like giving cocaine to the drug addict. What am I doing here? Let's actually sit back and say, what's not working? Who have you been picking? Is your picker broken? Is what you're doing serving you? And so, months later, we stopped matchmaking altogether and started helping people in a more fundamental way.
Yeah, and part of that is practice dating, literally practice dating, so you can go through the motions, see what you do, be really brutally honest with yourself. And you and your team, you're honest with people saying, look, there's no reason that you can't be loved and give love, but you got to stop doing this.
You got to stop having resting bitch face or whatever it is.
Right? So the first time...
And for the record, it's not only women that have resting bitch face.
No, believe me, I've been told a lot about my face.
Not at all.
So when you sat down that first time with that first client, whoever that was, and had to tell them, listen, you really can't wear, a muscle shirt and cutoffs to a date, or whatever the advice was. What was that like? I mean, you were probably nervous.
Oh my gosh. I remember the first time I had to tell a guy that I was working with, now this is matchmaking days, right? So this is back in 2010. And I surveyed a couple of the women I had set him up with to find out why they didn't want to date him again. Because he was like, they're so hot, they're amazing, totally want to see them again. And they're like, no and no. And I said, what happened? So I started getting the data. And both women said to me, I actually would rather date his brother. I said, his brother? What are you talking about? He said he talked about his brother the entire time on the date. Like, oh, I went to Northwestern, but my brother went to Stanford. I've got a good corporate job, but my brother started his own business. They're like, well, could you set me up with his brother? I'm like, dude, why are you talking about your brother the whole time? He's like, I thought I was just making conversation.
That's funny, and that's a perfect example of what people do. Whatever psychologically is going on between him and his brother, he brought that out thinking he was just talking when in fact he was sabotaging himself.
Yeah, it was actually like a therapy session with these women.
Yeah. Well, I suppose when it comes to love, though, that's a lot of it, right? You have had to become an amateur/professional therapist.
It's amazing. There's so much to matters of the heart, right? And it starts with matters of the head. And so it's really helping people to process, why are you picking the wrong people again and again and again? And this is borne out, Steve, as you know, by divorce statistics in this country. 50% of first marriages end in divorce, 67% of second marriages, and 74% of third marriages end in divorce. So it's like, wait a second, why do we do this wrong again and again and again? And a lot of it comes from what we saw at home with our parents. A lot of it is, just terrible messaging that we get from our culture about chemistry, and you'll just know when the person's right for you. And so I always say, if your picker is broken, it's not your fault.
Is there a self-sabotage thing? By the way, while you were saying that, I was thinking, how much money could you have saved Larry King? Good Lord. If you'd gotten a Larry King by Marriage 2 as opposed to Marriage 8, imagine what he could have saved. Wow. So here's the thing. Is there a commonality amongst all these folks that you work with, or is it as varied as a rainbow because we're all different when it comes to things they're doing wrong that you want to help them get right?
Here's what I'll tell you. Love is love, right? And so to your point, we've had people of every race, religion, straight, gay, bi, you name it. Love is love, and the process is similar. Now, what typically people are doing right and maybe what their blind spots are can certainly differ.
So let's knock off a few cliches here. Women always go, why do I keep picking the wrong guy? Is that start with yourself and figure that out? Is that where this goes?
100%. And to your point about, being a, honorary therapist, so much of this comes back to what were your parents like when you were young, right? Did they make you anxious, right? Were they sort of neglectful? They weren't always around, or did they outright abandon you? And you just kind of grew up and said, well, nobody's going to take care of me. I'm going to take care of myself, right? And so these things are wired into us by the age of 5.
Should guys that really want to find that somebody special and a lasting relationship, should they approach things differently on a date than, the guys that are literally going out trying to get laid?
Yeah, I mean, that latter group, they're not coming to me, right? Go to Tinder.
Right.
Go to Grindr, right? Go, you do you. Take care of that, scratch that itch. That's fine. But the people that are coming to us are really, the men and women are serious about finding the lid to their pot.
And what is the percentage, because I think people would be surprised at this, what is the percentage of men who are coming to you who are serious about that versus women who are coming for help? Because it's higher than I thought, I think, the last time we talked about this.
Yeah, it depends on any given moment, but it's like 60-40.
The fact that 40% of men are out there, really looking for love, I think is good for the rest of us.
It's great. I tell this to women all the time when there's no good guys left out there. I'm like, there are. You might not be seeing the good ones.
So there's a million dating sites out there. You got your Matches, you got you this, you got you that. How were you able to break through? Because I even again, a few years down the road on this, I don't see anybody doing this the way you do it.
Yeah, we're like the general contractor. If we go with the construction metaphor here, we're like the GC to the process. So for, someone who's in their 20s, they might want to be on a different app if they're in a rural area versus urban versus somebody who's in their 70s. Would you believe right now I've got an 82-year-old former Ford model as a client on my book?
I love that.
It is never too early. It is never too late.
So let's talk about the app piece of this, because the world runs on apps. We know that. You actually work with people to make sure that they are doing the search the right way in and amongst the other stuff that you do for them.
Yes. In fact, Steve, since we've talked during COVID, I wrote a book, and not a 300-page book. It's a workbook taking the information that was in my head that I trained our writers on how to write people's profiles that worked with us, and I put it into a workbook and turned it into a Mad Libs template. Answer these 8 questions, pop them into this template, all grammatically set up, and poof, here's the perfect match profile and here's the perfect Bumble profile. So yes, your personal marketing in cyberspace matters a lot. You've got to have the right photos. You've got to say the right things.
If we know that Tinder is mostly for hooking up, and by the way, don't try to tell me it's not, it still is. And not you, I'm talking to the public here. I like talking to the public when I'm talking to you because they can't talk back. So if we know that Tinder's the sex hookup, amongst other places, what makes things something like Bumble or Match maybe a more legitimate place to go? And legitimate in quotes. I'm not judging people for what they choose. I'm just trying to help them find their success as well. So a little and to the Tinder statement. Tinder is for hookups, and it's produced more engagements and weddings than any other site. Oh, come on, I didn't know that.
For real, it's the biggest app globally, right? So as many hookups, right? There's that many people that are serious, and it's free, and it's global, and it was the first. I mean, it really revolutionized dating. As long as I've been in this business for 11 years, the development of Tinder changed this horse race.
Well, then
massively.
I take the old married guy talking here. I take back every stupid thing I just said.
No, it's not stupid. It's not stupid at all, because you can find, to your point, you can find the hookup-y, skeezy stuff everywhere, whether it's on Match or Hinge or Bumble or Meet Mindful or Millionaire Match, and you can find it on Tinder. And you can also find good people on every one of those sites and apps. Maybe stay off of Ashley Madison, which is for married people wanting to hook up. But hey, if you're married and you want to have a little thingamadoo and the other person's married, at least it's out there, but just stay off of that side.
Yeah, it's not really healthy in the long term.
No, it's kind of short term.
So is there a specific app for, like if I come into Smart Dating Academy, are you going to recommend a specific app choice that goes along with what you've learned about me?
I would recommend for you, not that you'll ever be single, but I would say, you know what, knowing you as well as I do, where you live, what you're up to, I would say, let's start you on Match. And why Match, right, will be your next question, okay, out of all these sites and apps, because on Match, you actually learn the most, because you not only can message people, but people can message you back. On the app, they have to say yes to you. You have to say yes to them. So it's very well curated in a sense, and it's less overwhelming. But for someone like you, master of all games, I would say you could handle Match from the get-go.
And what sort of, problems maybe goes with some of these others? Is eHarmony good for a particular group?
eHarmony's fine. It's a little, you've got to fill out a 3,000 question questionnaire. I'm being facetious. It's like 150, 200 multiple choice questions that get at, 21 or something different personality characteristics. And the premise of eHarmony is good. It's saying like and like go together. The more similar you are to somebody across religion, financial habits, are you introverted or extroverted? The more similar you are, the better. So I like the premise of eHarmony. It's just that they're going to decide who you're going to match with. You can never go on there and do matches on your own. So eHarmony is similar to Tinder, Bumble, all of that, except with Tinder, Bumble, you can say, okay, I like this person, but the only way you're going to hear from her is if she says yes to. But with eHarmony, it's an algorithm somewhere that's going to be like, here's your prefix meals for the day, and that's all you get.
Right. So it's a little bit more for the person who wants it done for them. It's less interactive, maybe?
Yeah, it's less interactive. It's like you wake up, you're like, okay, here's my appetizer, here's my breakfast, here's my snack, here's my dinner, no substitutions. That's eHarmony.
Do you recommend people get involved in multiple apps, or should they focus on one?
1 to 2 max at any time. You're going to have dating ADHD, right? Do people come to me with, look, Bella, I'm not having any success. I'm on 8 different apps. I'm like, 8? Why are you on 8 apps?
Right.
Like, what can you do well at doing 8 of anything?
Right. Well, and I've heard single people say again and again that, they love to rush home from work when they haven't had time to look before, even if they're commuting to see what sort of contacts they've got. And you know what it reminded me of? The 80s, when you'd rush home to see if the little light was blinking to see if you got any messages on your phone, right?
Yeah. The good old answering machines.
So, all right. So the photo part of this is a big deal. And everybody will say, well, I met the person, he or she looked nothing like they said. What's your advice there?
Yeah, take a look at our website. Go to smartdatingacademy.com. There's great examples. But what I'll tell you is you want clear, high-resolution photos, you guys. Get rid of the grainy, pixelated pictures of you cutting somebody out of your photo or blurring their face so it looks like a crime scene. Like, there's just no reason for that anymore. Keep dead animals out of your photos. It astounds me how many fish and deer pictures that I see out there, all of that. But, this is your personal marketing in cyberspace. Take it seriously. There's a lot of parallels to looking for a job and looking for a partner. Take it seriously. And put your best version out there.
And once you get the date, the conversation is key. Tips for both sexes. What do we do? Or both
Right.
people on the date. I mean, it's not just limited to straight people. I mean, you deal with everybody.
Bring your most positive, fun self and look for places to connect, not disconnect. We live in such a polarized world today that we're looking to find places to disagree and to argue. Don't do that. Set that stuff aside, right? You can do that vetting before the date and make sure that somebody seems like they matches your values or your outlook, but really come to the date looking for what's good in the other person.
What have you learned after doing all this? I mean, I know your statistics and the breakdown of success of the business is tremendous at Smart Dating Academy. But what have you learned yourself? You came into this as a married woman. You got great kiddos. You got a great family. Even if you do have the cliched Jewish mother embedded somewhere inside you, where you want everybody to be in love and be happy.
I'm a Yenta.
Yeah. What have you taken from this about love?
Love exists for everybody that wants it. That is probably the most important lesson that I thought was true, but I've learned it even more heavily doing this. And it's going to happen to you. And love comes in an unexpected package. I think people have these preconceived notions of who they're going to be with and what their checklist looks like, right? And we constrain ourselves to these things that are good on paper. And what I found is that when you actually sit back and you think about the relationships in your life that make you really happy, right? We do this with our clients. Who in your life makes you really, really happy and why? And we go through it person by person. There's always a theme to the people in your life that make you happy. The person that you end up with romantically should have those same characteristics, and you think they're cute. Bam. That's it.
What about the I've been waiting 24 hours and he didn't call me or she didn't call me? Or should I call?
Give them one nudge text. If you thought you had a good date and you haven't heard from the person in 48 hours, send a nudge email or a nudge text. And what is that? And I said one, not 47 nudges. just one. And say, hey, I just walked by the Starbucks where we met the other day. I, hope you're having a good day. Tell me something good. And if the person responds positively, that's great. You've just jump-started the conversation again. Because a lot of times what happens is we think, oh, I had a great time on the date. But the person, maybe they came in gloom and doom and they're like, oh, I don't think he liked me. And that's it, right? So give them a nudge. Tell them, hey, I'm interested. And if they're interested, it's going to light that spark.
When you go to Smart Dating Academy, it's a great website, by the way. When you go to Smart Dating Academy, Bella and her team break it down really clearly. There's photos and profiles and webinars and the online dating love lab and the fixer picker love lab, coaching. There's even an FAQ that'll break down a lot of this for you. But you're going to want to get involved if you're truly serious about finding that right person and you're frustrated about the process so far. So by going to Smart Dating Academy and making that first connection, what do they do? I suppose watch the video first?
Yeah, like we do. We've got something. We try to meet people where they are, right? Like some people want to come in and they're like, I don't have money to invest in this, but I want to learn. Great. So go to our site, go to our YouTube channel, Smart Dating Academy. But the best thing we've done during COVID is I started, getting out there last March, right when the pandemic hit, and just tried to be a voice of positivity on Instagram. And now we've got, quite a lovely, they call us the Smart Dating Instafam. Every Thursday at 7 p.m., I'm live on Instagram talking about dating, answering your dating questions. So follow at Smart Dating Academy Thursdays at 7 p.m. and I'm live and we'll welcome you with open arms. It's a positive, inspiring community that's looking for education. So you can certainly start there or, gosh, have a session with one of us, with somebody on my team. There's different price points. This Fixer Picker Love Lab workshops, these things are life-changing, game-changing. 3 hours on Zoom. COVID developments as well. You can patch in from anywhere. It's Sunday the 21st from 2 to 5, and it talks about how to fix your broken picker, how to identify red flags, how not to be the red flag relationship, right, and how to pace you're dating. People don't know these things. So whether you're, freshly out of divorce, maybe you've been divorced for a decade, maybe you've lost the love of your life, or you've never had one, these are things that can really help you.
Yeah, and it's a perfect segue into that COVID thing, because before we run out of time here, which we're going to do quickly, people think they can't date during COVID, but they can.
Dating numbers are higher than ever right now on sites and apps, right? Because think about what happened last year. It's like our humanity was tested. Our values were tested. 48% of adults are single. Suddenly you're quarantining alone and you're like, God, this kind of sucks. Like
right.
All the business was turned off and you're looking at yourself going, I never want to be in this position again. And so what happened? Memberships on apps went up and up and up. Like Match had their best year ever last year. So there are plenty of good fish in the sea, you guys. And something we've been talking a lot about is I'm in love with what's happened. Dating has slowed down. It's become like old-fashioned courtship. And all the apps have added video. So all of those, am I being catfished? Our picture's 20 years old. Flash up the video date. Yep. All of that gets put to rest.
Oh, you know what? I hadn't thought about that, but how soon after you make the connection should you look for that video connection? Should you make that fairly quickly?
I always say it's good. There's 4 steps to a good date. Step 1, message back and forth. Make sure that the person is conversant, sounds good. Then have a quick 10 to 15-minute phone call because, come on, crazy can't keep crazy in the closet for more than 10 minutes.
True story.
You know that, Steve, and I know that, right? So if crazy hops out of the closet, you just press the red phone. Bye, we're done.
Right.
But if they seem normal, then take it to a video date. 30 minutes. Put boundaries on it. Like, hey, let's meet up for a glass of wine. Let's do a Zoom from 5 to 5:30. Awesome. And you don't even have to do it on Zoom. Match, Bumble, Hinge, they all have video built right into the site so you can feel safer. You don't have to disclose your personal information. Then if that video date goes well, that's step 3. You can lather, rinse, repeat, do another video until you're comfy to meet this person out for a real date. And that's step 4, IRL, in real life. Grab a drink, go for a walk. Going for a walk with a person was the biggest date in 2020.
And you could do that from more than 6 feet apart, a walk in the park, a walk by a Starbucks, a walk anywhere.
Triple mask it up, go for your walk.
That's it. That's it. And boy, you're right. It is. It may feel a bit Amish to you, but there's a charm to getting to know somebody before you make the same mistakes again you've made in the past, whether it's hopping into bed or whatever you might do. So this has been the blessing of the slow learning curve.
Well, this screen has provided a metaphorical barrier to entry, no pun intended.
Yeah, well, that's just it. It's so hard to have sex with the wrong people when you can't get near each other.
Exactly. So HIV risks are way down.
So let's go through what we've learned here. When it comes to your picture, no dead fish or dead animals. Yes? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Very good.
When it's a nudge text, probably after the first date, if you haven't heard in 24 hours, the text you shouldn't send is, I just bought us a house. That's probably not good. And one other one we could take with us. What was the other thing that I wanted to go over as far as what we've learned? We learned about the picture. Oh, the profile. The profile, what should you, Debbie, tell the truth. There's a crazy idea. Unless you're Donald Trump, tell the friggin' truth. Exactly.
Because he doesn't know how to tell the truth.
Oh, yeah. And stop talking about your brother. I guess that's the other piece that we...
Stop talking about your brother who's cooler than you. Go to a shrink to talk about your brother.
All right. Now, I love this stuff, and I don't want you to, I don't want people to think we're picking on people, but you got to give me one of your favorite anecdotes about somebody that came to you with something that you just, you couldn't believe. Something related to dating that they were bringing in that was a problem.
I worked with a widow a year ago who flew in from Martha's Vineyard, and her husband had been sick for 10 years with Alzheimer's. So it was a slow demise, and, he was really her soulmate. And when she came to work with us, she was staying at the Four Seasons, which is where our office was based at the time, and she had an 8x10 photo of him in her room still. She says, oh, he's watching over me. And it was like, it brought me, tears in my eyes. It's like, wow, this is, and it had been a year. And she got online. We put her on Match, watched her carefully for a year. She has met the most amazing man They dated very slowly over video. She's 64. She's a physician, and her partner is 66, and they both were caring for elderly parents. And so they dated over video for weeks and actually into a couple of months. 2 to 3 Zoom dates a week. And on their days off of Zoom, they would write each other letters, like old school letters, but over email, because you don't even have to wait for snail mail. Before they met in person, they knew, it's like, do you think it's, would it bother you if my last big meal of the day was at 3 o'clock? I mean, they knew this kind of stuff about each other before they met in person. When they met in person for the first time, it was magical. It's like they'd known each other their whole lives. Done.
That's
delivered.
That's textbook. That's like the owner's manual of how to do it right.
How to do it right. And they send me pictures of them and how happy they are and how
so great.
It's amazing. And how he accepts that, she had the love of her life and he's the second love of her life. It's all good. Love can happen to you guys.
And the only person getting in the way of that is probably you. So why not find out? Go to smartdatingacademy.com. It really is a terrific website. But more importantly, Bella's amazing. And she invented this business. And I can tell you from starting a business, it's harder than it looks. And Bella, I'm thrilled for you. But again, the workbook you described, is that part of when people get involved in the service, or can they get that, or how does that work?
Yeah, when you do one of our workshops or you become a one-on-one client, the book is included in that. So we're not yet selling it individually.
Got it. Okay. SmartDatingAcademy.com. And your plans for Valentine's Day, I assume, just really don't involve you or your own life. You're just trying to save the rest of the world. Is that accurate?
Well, my plans, because I'm working like crazy until the 14th. On the 14th, we're actually going to take our kids skiing up to Cascade, believe it or not.
So fun.
That's our it's a group Valentine's Day.
Well, that's fun. Stay healthy. Thank you for doing this, and thanks for being on Live from my office.
Oh, it's so fun to talk to you again, Steve.
If you're interested in refinancing your existing home or to lower your interest rate, pay off debt, shorten the term of your loan, or renovate your home, do what I did when I wanted to refi a home equity loan, when my sister wanted to finance her home, when my daughter wanted to finance her home. Look, we all call Team Hochberg. Too many of us put it off. They go, this Hochberg guy, man, I'm hearing a lot of things. Steve's always telling me he's a good guy. Look, he's loud. He's direct. But all he wants to do is save you money. And I highly recommend you pick up the phone or get online immediately and check it out as well. With any money situation related to your home, Team Hochberg can, in all likelihood, help. Team Hochberg is truly a team, by the way. Everything related to your house. He's got a guy. So in January, Team Hochberg helped listeners secure lower rates and convert close to $2.4 million of their home's equity to renovate their homes, pay off credit cards, car loans, medical bills, collections, judgments, IRS tax liens. It all helped reduce their payments over $60,000 a month. So what are you waiting for? Your procrastination isn't going to help you with your debt issue. Your debt isn't going to magically disappear. And the consultation's absolutely free. Call Team Hochberg. Do it now and see if they can lower your rate or pay off debt to reduce your monthly payment or help you with your credit rating or help you with a student loan. Look, it's all there for Team Hochberg. They've helped me and thousands of listeners secure low rates and reduce their monthly payments, but they can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843, 855-563-2843, or 56david.com. Homeside Financial and Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 1124061. All right, let me grab this call. Good morning, former President Trump.
Hello, Cochran. Boy, do I love the smell of impeachment trials in the morning. Can I tell you?
Your Senate impeachment trial is on, and Republicans saying you got zero chance of getting convicted. You're not worried about this a bit, I guess, huh?
No, not sweating it at all. Literally, because I have 50 cc's of Botox injected under each armpit, so I can't actually sweat. I really can't. But seriously, can you believe this ridiculous impeachment nonsense? And, the liberals are going to have to work very hard to beat me. They can't just mail it in like they did with the election. Frankly, airing this joke of a trial is not very smart for the networks. So painfully boring to watch. In fact, the only thing that got me excited is when Senator Cory Booker and Bernie Sanders both leaned over and their bald heads together looked like a really large pair of boobs. Other than that, nothing worth watching.
Look, there's been reports that say you were upset about one thing, and that's how terrible your lawyers were when they gave their opening arguments.
I've got the best team of bottom-feed legal minds in the business, don't I? The likes of which you've never seen before. You can say that, right? Oh. They will litigate you so much your head's going to spin. I'm just tuning in to see if they actually show up to do their job tomorrow. I really am. And when I say tune in, I just mean clicking over from the Golf Channel during a commercial break.
Well, President Trump, according to a former aide of yours, you're actually happier now that you're off social media. That seems crazy to me. You lived for Twitter. Do you recommend getting off social media, other people in search of happiness? Because Lord knows, when we're looking for happiness, we should turn to you.
I got to admit, it's true, Cochran. I never thought I'd say this, but it's true. Not only that, lots of people say they are also happier now that I'm off social media, too. So once again, I'm making America even greater and happier again. I'm even trying to get Lou Dobbs to leave social media because, he needs some happiness. Since he was fired, he's been sobbing all day long while holding his bottle of hair paint. I believe what the color is, autumn rust. That's what the color is. Autumn rust. It's a shame he won't be getting to use it for a while.
So your former, I get it. Oh, I totally get it. So your former attorney, Michael Cohen, sat down with Stormy Daniels. That's the porn star you had sex with. Sat down with Stormy Daniels on his podcast, and she said that her time with you, her quote now, was the worst 90 seconds of her life. Any response?
Okay, excuse me. 90 seconds? Not many guys can last that long, believe me. And now that I'm doing the math, that was kind of a raw deal for me because that means I paid her almost $1,500 per second, allegedly.
Well, you're a deal maker.
Forget about the guest spot. I mean, those two with those horrible faces, they would be perfect to do a podcast together. They could call it the Hangdog and Horseface Show. I guarantee they'd get a PETA sponsorship right away.
Former President Trump, I want to pivot for a second. Your big supporter and pal, Mike Lindell, CEO of MyPillow. He put out a movie/documentary on YouTube. It's called Absolute Proof. It was taken down almost immediately because of the lies portraying it as fact in the film. You know the deal?
Yes, the communists who run YouTube took it down, and I didn't get to see it. But the good news is I was able to see the incredibly well-done parody of it they did on PornTube called the My Pillow Biter Guy movie. Yeah, it's still trending. Huge trending movie on PornTube, believe me.
Yeah, it's good to see you're still using your time well. Now, have you spoken with Mike Lindell to congratulate him or anything?
Actually...
Hey, it's Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Go see my important film, Steve Cochran. If this doesn't win an Oscar, then the extreme liberal vultures have won. And after you watch my important film, get yourself another pillow. Use promo code PILLOW here to save 10%.
Okay.
I tell you, I love this guy, Cochran. He's like Crazy Eddie. How does he do it? Volume.
And don't forget, my pillows are made in the
USA. Right, we know, Mike.
Can I get a membership to Mar-a-Lago? No.
Mr. Trump, I don't know how the phone lines got crossed there, but let me shift to this. This Sunday is Valentine's Day. Any plans?
I'm so glad you asked because I'll tell you, of all the holidays that were clearly made up by a desperate, needy woman, Valentine's is probably my favorite. And it's not because of the chocolate and the flowers. I just get a huge kick out of, what's his name? You know, that horny little guy with the bow and arrow who looks like Dr. Fauci.
You mean Cupid?
Yeah, that's right. Valentine's Day. Sometimes you got to grease the wheel. You feed the meter to keep them happy. Am I right, Cochran?
I have no idea what you're talking about, but you're not going to believe this, President Trump. President number 46, Joe Biden, is on another line. Let me conference you two. Good morning, Mr. President.
Hey, good to have you on the program. What's on your mind, son?
Sleepy Joe.
Mr. President, actually, I should be the one welcoming you. This is my podcast, and you're on, and we have a few questions to ask you.
Well, God love you. Ask away, man.
Well,
this is going to be good.
About the stimulus checks, can you give us an idea when people are going to get those?
Well, I'm glad you asked that to me over the radio, Cream Puff, because if you were here, I'd punch you in your yam bag.
Why?
Now, I get that question 20, 30 times a day, man. You got to knock it off. I mean, that's a question for the boss lady, too. I mean, that's a Kamala question. She's president on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so you have to check with her then.
All right, fine.
But we've negotiated a fiscally responsible and bipartisan deal, and making sure that every American's concern is being carefully addressed. And that's what I like to say when I don't have an answer. Now, oh, it figures, Joe. Now, if you'll excuse me, Jilly's coming down to bring me a snack. And good news for me, I think it's tapioca pudding, man. Wow, and I'm the one being impeached?
Sir, a crazy, crazy call, but we're out of time. I appreciate you calling President Trump, President Biden, Mike Lindell.
President Biden, would you care for a My Pillow, President Biden? Hey, let's talk over the air, man. Great show. Thanks for coming on. Is there a song you'd like to hear?
No, he thinks he's the host. This is so sad.
Goodbye, former President Trump.
Later, loser.
All right, if you've listened with any regularity, you know on each episode of Live from My Office, I bring you information about a charitable organization that I think you should know more about. Our friend Bela Gandhi actually let me know about Cara Chicago, C-A-R-A, Chicago.org. This is an organization that's been around since 1991, helping people from poverty to full employment. And they do amazing work. 7,000 or 8,000 jobs have been found by the people at Cara, literally changing people's lives. And you can make a donation and you can help them continue the mission. Bela Gandhi says it's a wonderful organization. Everything I've done research-wise about it would agree. I would highly recommend you go to the website and look around yourself because I think you'll be moved to make a donation too. CaraChicago.org, C-A-R-A Chicago.org. Keep up the good work there, folks. You are needed now more than ever. Thank you to Bela Gandhi. Thank you to the former president. Words I really never thought I'd say. And thank you to Ross Cochran, who puts this all together. Look forward to seeing you next time on Live from My Office.
30 years plus on the airwaves. You have turned your dial to me. Now you're tuned into my podcast. It's Live from My Office, Steve. From Ithaca, New York, to Carolina South, W. Cochran Steve. From Minneapolis, and then Chicago twice, top-rated shows achieved. Sit back, relax, and now listen to my show. When or wherever you are, 'cause you're on the go. A-list celebs with some laughs and great info. Live from my office, the Steve Cochran Podcast Show. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No better place to be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Subscribe and like for free. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Live from my office, Steve. So glad you're with me. It's Live from my office, Steve.
Thank you for listening to Live from My Office, a service of Monkey Run Productions. All rights reserved. The podcast is hosted by Steve Cochran, and it's mixed, edited, and produced by me, Ross Cochran. Support the show by subscribing wherever you're listening and by telling your friends about it. Follow Steve on all social media channels, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And make sure you check out this episode's show notes for relevant information discussed during the conversations. You can also email the show directly at thecochranshow@gmail.com with any questions or comments. And that's the best place to tell us about your favorite nonprofit so we can make sure we mention them on the next episode. Steve is available for corporate speaking gigs. He would love to MC your event. And occasionally, he's funny. Thank you for listening. Head to cochranshow.com for more.